Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayanti Nashtaprayeshu Vadreshu Nityam Bharati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloki Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, Karma Yoga, text 31 onwards. So Krishna has given wonderful instructions on karma, and he is further speaking. Ye me matam idam nityam manutishtanti manava shraddhavanto anasuyanto mutyante te api karmati. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. So without envy, anasuyave, it's again and again this word will come. These 6 anarthas that we have in our heart, Kam, Krodh, Lomo, Mad, Matsarya. Matsarya is enviousness, so jealousy. It's the last one. That's because it's the most difficult to get rid of. Envy. We can like calm, we can control our desires, and this and that. But envy, that is at the bottom of our heart. So difficult. We get envious of others, we get others' positions, anything that others have more than us. In any field, we become envious. Without understanding, if they have more than us, and definitely somebody will definitely have something more than us, then it's their karma and they're enjoying whatever Krishna has given them. So why get envious? But it's so difficult to get rid of it. And ultimately we become envious of Krishna, because this is how we started in the material world. Spiritual world, we became envious of Krishna. Why Krishna is in the center of enjoyment? Why not me? And that me cannot happen in the spiritual world. Krishna sends us to material world. Okay, you try in material world. You try to be the center of happiness, center of attention, center of services. And here we are trying since time immemorial, but failed. Again and again failing. And Krishna again gives a chance in the next life. Okay, try in this life. Try in this species of life. Try in that species. Try in this country, that country, this planet, that planet. Not gonna happen. But this is what we are trying. And now Krishna is saying, those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions. Clearly, Krishna is saying, who is he? His injunctions, his instructions are the supreme, topmost. And when we follow them faithfully, Krishna says, become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Means we become liberated. But even in this, people will try to find their own interpretation. No, I can do this thing, I can do that thing. No, Krishna clearly says, just follow my teachings faithfully and work, and you'll become free. The injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom, and therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in this injunction without envying the Lord. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad Gita, but have no faith in Krishna. Forget about faith in Krishna. They don't even believe in the personality of Krishna. They say, oh, it's all ultimate, is all Nirakar and this and that. So what faith they have? They will never be liberated from the bondage of fruitive action. But an ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. So even though unable to execute such orders, but have full faith, even then he becomes liberated. This is Krishna's mercy. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the intentions of the Lord, but because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. And this is where his liberation. Obviously, devotees don't care for liberation; they only care to serve. This is where they become successful. It's all mercy of Krishna. Bhakti marg is nothing but mercy, marg of a path of mercy. And Krishna, obviously, he'll give mercy to those who are trying to follow his injunctions, not going against his instructions. Ye tvetad abhyasuyanto nanu tishtanti me matam sarva jnana vimudas tan vidhi nashtana chetasa. But those who out of envy disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of knowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. So many people, as Prabhupada says, so many people following so many so-called leaders and philosophers who have written their own commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, trying to explain who's Krishna and who's Kurukshetra, who's Pandava, who's Kauravas, instead of just following as it is. Then this is what happens. Disregard, they do not follow them regularly, although they can be considered from our perspective, oh, he's such a big scholar. Krishna says they're bereft of all knowledge. They're befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. So they cannot attain anything. The flaw of not being Krishna conscious is clearly stated here, as there is punishment for disobedience to the order of Supreme Executive Head. So there is certainly punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A disobedient person, however great he may be, is ignorant of his own self and of the Supreme Brahman, Paramatma, and the Personality of Godhead due to a vacant heart. Therefore, there is no hope of perfection of life for him. So basically, Krishna is telling Arjuna, what do you want to do? Follow my instructions or not follow my instructions? If you don't follow, you're not going to become perfect in any of your endeavors. Forget about endeavors for spiritual advance. Any endeavors, you're not going to become perfect. This actually, this shloka is actually a slap on those people's faces, even though they say we are devotees and do all sorts of nonsense. And they think, oh, Krishna is bhavgrahi, Krishna is sargrahi, he doesn't look at the activities. He is clearly saying, act according to my instructions. It's not like I can create havoc in others' lives and still claim that, oh, I'm a devotee, I'm working for Krishna, I'm doing everything for Prabhupada's service or Krishna's service. No. Follow the instructions as it is. Then do. I mean, who's not saying serve Krishna, but don't do any nonsense against others and still think, oh no, I'm perfect. In fact, once some people said these things, and I said, then why Krishna has created hell? If you think anything you can do, and Krishna is bhavgrahi and sargrahi, he understands. No, he wants to see our activities also properly. Not just, why I'm doing all this so I can serve Krishna. No, this is not service. It's not at all service. Prabhupada said that, how do you know a person in Krishna consciousness or a devotee? And Prabhupada said he is a perfect gentleman or a gentle lady. And perfect gentleman means his acts are proper, his behavior is proper towards others. Because in the beginning days, because devotees were joining from all sorts of backgrounds, and Prabhupada was still trying to engage them and trying to make them progress, but still he had the responsibility of spreading the movement all over the world. So he had to keep on traveling. And devotees were left without any personal guidance of Prabhupada. So some were engaged in like stealing, and once one devotee was also caught selling drugs. And his point was, oh, I'm collecting money for Krishna by selling drugs. And he got caught. He went to the jail. Prabhupada said, good. Because I never told you to sell drugs. And this actually brings a bad reputation to the movement. Why can't we have faith that Krishna can provide, he does provide, he will provide everything for the propagation of the movement, which is established by Prabhupada, pure Mahabhagavad. If we just follow, if we just keep the movement pure and clean, can't Krishna provide anything and everything? Is Radharani so powerless that she cannot provide? Her expansions are all, Lakshmi's are her expansions, and they cannot provide for Krishna's service if we just remain pure. Why we have to do illegal things or immoral things to collect money? I mean, we think by that kind of money we can propagate the movement. Not gonna help. And this is what happened with many devotees. They went to jail, or slowly, they left the movement. Purity is important. Purity means following the instructions of Krishna and Prabhupada. Simple as that. Sadrisham cheshtate swasya prakritir jnanvanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature. For everyone follows a nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? So basically, Krishna is saying, follow the instructions, but according to your nature. If you are a Kshatriya, work as a Kshatriya. What can repression accomplish? If you think you are Kshatriya, but if you want to act as a sannyasi or want to renounce everything, go away, that will not help. Unless one is situated on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness, it's a big if, a big unless. He cannot get free from the influence of the modes of material nature, as it is confirmed by the Lord in the 7th chapter. So if anybody thinks that he has Kshatriya qualities and he can act like a Brahman, not gonna happen. And if somebody has Brahminical qualities, he can act like a Shudra, not gonna happen. Emergency situations are different, but those are not always, and those cannot be sustained forever. Therefore, even for the most highly educated person on the mundane plane, it is impossible to get out of the entanglement of Maya simply by theoretical knowledge or by separating the soul from the body. There are many so-called spiritualists who outwardly pose as advanced in the science, but inwardly or privately are completely under particular modes of nature, which they are unable to surpass. Academically, one may be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he is in bondage. Krishna consciousness helps one to get out of the material entanglement, even though one may be engaged in his prescribed duties in terms of material existence. So Krishna consciousness helps one to get out of the material engagement. Means even if somebody is working as an administrator or a politician or something else, engaging in Krishna consciousness slowly changes the nature from, say, mode of ignorance, passion, or goodness to transcendental, but it takes time. Therefore, without being fully in Krishna consciousness, one should not give up his occupational duties. No one should suddenly give up his prescribed duties and become a so-called yogi or transcendentalist artificially. Wonderful statement. We see others doing in Krishna consciousness, oh, this brahmachari is working so nicely, working in this way, and all day studying or chanting or serving. I can also do. No. Not without being fully in Krishna consciousness. He or the other devotees, they have their own pace of working, they have their own starting point in this lifetime, which could be much higher than ours. It's not impossible, it's not impractical. Yes, they must have started last lifetime, or many lifetimes they've been doing. We have to see where are we, and then work from there. By quitting everything, leaving everything, and thinking that I can make progress. One can make progress, but it can create disturbance in the mind if he is not properly situated, or if he is not properly looked after. It is better to be situated in one's position and to try to attain Krishna consciousness under superior training. Thus one may be freed from the clutches of Krishna's Maya. And this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. You want to give up everything, give up your Kshatriya nature, your duties of a Kshatriya, and become a so-called yogi or transcendentalist? Not gonna. Even for Arjuna, it wasn't possible. He was personal associate of Krishna. Being with Krishna. Krishna is sitting on his chariot as his chariot driver, and he has a wonderful association of Krishna. They have dined together, they have slept together, they have when they have gone to the hunting together, played together, they are relatives, but still Krishna is giving him these instructions. So how much these instructions should mean for us? Of course, any service done to Krishna in any way, it's eternally in our bank account. But that service can also be done staying in our own ashram. Whatever duties we've been given, the service can be done. Srila Prabhupada also, he gave sannyas to so many disciples. But because of their previous sanskaras, previous karmic entanglements, many of them fell down. Even Prabhupada gave them sannyas. They fell down. They could not continue with the sannyas ashram. But Prabhupada himself said, yes, they were not ready, but I had to take the risk for the purpose of propagating this movement. But on top of it, he also said two things. First of all, even if they fell down, they can continue serving as a grahastha, no problem. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, or Nityanand Prabhu is very, very merciful. It's not like when you fell down and that's it, you are out. No, one can still continue. And secondly, from the devotees' experiences later on, even if they fell down, Prabhupada always remembered, even though Prabhupada had left his body. I can give you one example. There was one Maharaj, I'll not take the name, that's not important. He took sannyas when Prabhupada was there, and Prabhupada sent him to Japan to preach from America. And he went to Japan and he preached very nicely. And after Prabhupada left, he fell down. Fell down means he, in fact, not just regular relationships, he became gay, actually. Actually, this is also one big mystery, one can say. Actually, after learning a little bit, I don't know completely about this pranic healing. The teacher there in his teaching, in his books, he has explained when somebody is growing spiritually, so whatever spiritual activities he does, and this I have scanned when we do the chanting. Chanting is very, very powerful spiritual activity. After scanning means you scan your chakras after chanting and before chanting. They are huge. But the spiritual energy that comes in, and if our body is not conducive to assimilate that spiritual energy, it goes down in the lower chakras. It comes from up and it goes down in the lower. Actually, a good or perfect transcendentalist should be able to assimilate it in the higher chakras and keep it there. Like Prabhupada could do that. We are not. We are still struggling to be in the beginning stages. So the energy, it goes down and actually it gets stored in the lower chakra, especially the sex chakra, if one is not careful. So generally, this is what happens with every person who's trying to make spiritual progress. That chakra gets activated. It's how it is designed. So that is why, that is where most of the devotees find trouble with that relationships. So this Maharaj, so he became gay. So obviously he had done plenty of service. But he was not then fit to remain as a leader. So he moved in with his gay friend in California. Actually, from Japan he came back to America, California. So after a few years, temple devotees or temple president of Los Angeles Temple, he got a call that, okay, one of your devotees is here in this place, this apartment, please come get him. He's sick. So they went and they found that this was the ex-Maharaj, and that associate had left him there, and because this Maharaj had got AIDS. So knowing that he was Prabhupada's disciple and he had served Prabhupada in best of his capabilities, so they brought him to the temple, in the guest house. They kept him there, they served him, and finally he left his body in the temple area, chanting with devotees chanting around him. So this is mercy of Prabhupada, nothing else. Although one fell down, went through so much, but because he had done so much of service for Prabhupada, Prabhupada never forgot that. He came to take him back. So that way, yes, no, a devotee is never a loser. Whatever activity one does, whatever services one does, it's always in his bank balance, bank account. But at the same time, like Krishna also said earlier, a leader, he sets an example so people follow him proper because people are following him, people see him as a leader. So we have to set the right example also. So point is, Krishna consciousness, bhakti can also be performed while performing our other duties. And this way, one will not be disturbed in his mind or not create disturbance in the society. Basically, he's trying to tell Arjun, if you run away like this, so many people will look up to you that you are their leader, you're a great warrior, everybody wants to be like a warrior like you. They'll also leave their duties and run away. This is not a good thing to do. And Krishna's mercy is always there. Prabhupada's mercy is always there, no matter where we are. His mercy is always there. How we are serving, that is more important. Indriyasyarthe ragadvesho vyavastito tayor navasham agacheto hiyasya paripantino. There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. So those who are in Krishna consciousness are naturally reluctant to engage in material sense gratification. But those who are not in such consciousness should follow the rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures. Unrestricted sense enjoyment is a cause of material engagement. But one who follows the rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures does not become entangled by the sense objects. For example, sex enjoyment is a necessity for the conditioned soul, and sex enjoyment is allowed under the license of marriage ties. According to scriptural injunctions, one is forbidden to engage in sex relationships with any woman other than one's wife. All other women are to be considered as one's mother. But in spite of such injunctions, a man is still inclined to have sex relationships with other women. These propensities are to be curbed, otherwise there will be stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. As long as the material body is there, the necessities of the material body are allowed, but under rules and regulations. And yet we should not rely upon the control of such allowances, because mind plays so many games. One has to follow those rules and regulations unattached to them, because practice of sense gratification under regulations may also lead one to go astray. One has to follow those rules and regulations without being attached to them or unattached to them, because practice of sense gratification under regulations may also lead one to go astray. As much as there is always a chance of an accident, even on the royal roads. So one can say, I'm married, I'm following all the rules of sense gratification, so I have a license for sense enjoyment. But no, there's still chances of accident. And Prabhupada gives a nice example. The chances of an accident, even on the royal roads, just like this Queen Elizabeth. She would drive car, otherwise she would not drive car on the public roads. But she would love to drive, so she would drive inside her palace complex. These are royal roads, wide roads, no traffic. But there's still chance of an accident. If she doesn't drive carefully, if she car can go break the barricades or tumble over, something can happen, anything can happen. Although they may be very carefully maintained, no one can guarantee that there will be no danger, even on the safest road. The sense enjoyment spirit has been current a very, very long time owing to material association. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is every chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment must also be avoided by all means. But attachment to Krishna consciousness, or acting always in the loving service of Krishna, detaches one from all kinds of sensory activities. Therefore, no one should try to be detached from Krishna consciousness at any stage of life. The whole purpose of detachment from all kinds of sense attachment is ultimately to become situated on the platform of Krishna consciousness. So, as Krishna said, there are principles to regulate attachment and aversion. Means principles means the guiding principles. Okay, this you can do, this you cannot do. And if we just follow that, still there are problems. There could be problems. So one has to become Krishna conscious. There could be, as Krishna, there are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. So ultimate goal is of self-realization, Krishna consciousness. So one has to follow his path, but understanding even that is not enough. That is not. So Varnashram system is not enough to be self-realized. It's good, but it's not sufficient. So further Krishna says, then what? Shreyan swadharmo viguna paradharma tasvanushtita swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha. It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than another's duties perfectly. Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties, for to follow another's path is dangerous. Again, he's telling Arjun, you should do your duties, even if you think there are some problems in your duties as a Kshatriya, as a warrior, as a king. Don't try to follow somebody else's duties. But at the same time, like in the previous verse, do your duties, but that's still not enough for self-realization. One should therefore discharge his prescribed duties in full Krishna consciousness, rather than those prescribed for others. Materially prescribed duties are duties enjoined according to one's psychophysical condition, under the spell of the modes of material nature. Spiritual duties are as ordered by the spiritual master for the transcendental service of Krishna. But whether material or spiritual, one should stick to his prescribed duties even up to death, rather than imitate another's prescribed duties. Why? Because these duties, material duties, are given by Krishna according to one's psychophysical condition. So Kshatriyas have a different psychophysical condition, Brahmins have different, Shudras, Vaishyas. We all have different. Brahmachari, Sannyasi, Grihastha, Vanprastha, everybody is different. So everybody has their own duties. So if we are engaged in those duties properly, means then we'll be at peace. And just like if somebody tells me that you become the prime minister, president of a country and run the country, I'm not cut out for that. I have to understand this. And I'll create havoc, and there will be tension for me also all the time. I'll be always disturbed. Or if somebody gives me a gun, okay, go on the front and fight this war. I'm not qualified. I'm not cut out. So this is what, of course, here also Prabhupada said in America in 60s, there was this Vietnam War going on, and Young people were getting drafted. Drafted, matlab, you get the notice in your mail, you have to come enlist in the army, air force, navy, whatever, and go fight. And that's when so many people became hippies, youngsters. They became hippies. They would take drugs so that they couldn't avoid the drought, or they ran away to Europe, or did so many things to avoid the drought because they are not Kshatriyas. Just having a body, a big body, doesn't mean one is a Kshatriya who can fight in the war. Kshatriyas are completely different. Their mental condition is completely different. We'll study the characteristics of Kshatriya. And one characteristic is he doesn't run away from the battlefield. And Prabhupada said, right now there are only two races. Those are real Kshatriyas. One is Sikh and the others are Gurkhas. They're real Kshatriyas. They don't run away from the battlefield. Of course, even in those Sikhs also, not everybody is a Kshatriya, but their tendency, general tendency is that, and that's why so many Sikhs are there, so many Sikhs and Gurkhas. They're in the Indian Army or armed forces. But that doesn't mean others cannot serve also. Vaishyas serve in their own way, and Brahmins in their own way, Shudras in their own way. But one should work according to one's psychophysical condition. And here also, it doesn't say anywhere that caste system, which is the nonsense system in India right now, that is important. No. Any person, any boy born in any family could be anything. Could be Kshatriya, could be Brahman, could be Vaishya, could be Shudra. Spiritual duties are as ordered by the spiritual master for the transcendental service of Krishna. But whether material or spiritual, one should stick to his prescribed duties even up to death, rather than imitate another's prescribed duties. Duties on the spiritual platform and duties on the material platform may be different, but the principle of following the authorized direction is always good for the performer. When one is under the spell of the modes of material nature, one should follow the prescribed rules for his particular situation and should not imitate others. For example, a Brahman who is in the mode of goodness is non-violent, whereas a Kshatriya who is in the mode of passion is allowed to be violent. As such, for a Kshatriya, it is better to be vanquished following the rules of violence than to imitate a Brahman who follows the principles of non-violence. Everyone has to cleanse his heart by a gradual process, not abruptly. However, when one transcends the modes of material nature and is fully situated in Krishna consciousness, he can perform anything and everything under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. And interestingly, sage Vishwamitra Muni, he was a Kshatriya before, he was a king before, he studied in Srimad Bhagavatam, and then somehow he got into this argument, or war, or competition with Vasishtha Muni. And he said, I'll become a better Brahman than you. And then as a Kshatriya spirit is there. So he went for austerities. And he did so many austerities. Of course, when he was born, there was some story that he was first going to live as a Kshatriya, then going to become a Brahman, and became a Brahman. And even Vasishtha Muni admitted he gave him some title, big title, that is that kind of Muni. So much so, Vishwamitra Muni, he became the guru of Lord Ram. And when Lord Ram came and Vishwamitra Muni came to take Ram away because in the Yagyashala, all these Rakshasas, they were disturbing the Yagya. Vishwamitra Muni himself was a Kshatriya, but now he's a Brahman. He said, I cannot kill those Rakshasas. I'm a Brahman. He was following the rules of a Brahman. So you're a Kshatriya, you have to come and protect the Yagya. Of course, it's also part of Ram's Leela. That's a different story. But as a Brahman, he did not kill those Rakshasas. He was very much capable of, but he did not kill. Oh, Leela-wise, yes, Ram also had to go out and set an example, and then he had to meet Sita this way and marry Sita. Those are different stories. But as a Brahman, he could not kill those Rakshasas. In the transcendental stage, so transcendental, the distinctions of the material world do not apply, but we are not there yet. For example, Vishwamitra was originally a Kshatriya, but later on he acted as a Brahman. Whereas Parshuram was a Brahman, but later on acted as a Kshatriya. And Parshuram, he killed Kshatriyas all over the world 17 times. As a Brahman, he wouldn't have done it. But when he took up this Farsa, his ex, he killed the Kshatriyas. Being transcendently situated, they could do so. But as long as one is on the material platform, he must perform his duties according to the modes of material nature. But at the same time, he must have full sense of Krishna consciousness that he wants to make progress spiritually as well. Then he is perfectly situated. So I guess I can stop here because now the theme will change. Although this chapter is coming to an end, but now the next class will be when I come back. And next Sunday is when we are taking this yatra to Gokul, Raval, and Dalji. Okay, so we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Nice class, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Prabhuji, one of the point you touch base on storing the energy in upper what do you call chakras.
Chakras.
How to do a mastery of that? What is the art of doing that? What should we do?
There is, different techniques.
Mm-hmm.
There is energy and extra energy, we have to use it somehow. Energy that goes in a crown chakra, that goes, that stays there, but extra energy that comes down, that we have to use somehow. So Prabhupada gave the wonderful activity of this, when we dance in the kirtan.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just, yes, it is spiritual, it's completely spiritual, pleasing to Mahaprabhu, but physically also it helps us. It dissipates that extra energy. And Prabhupada also told them to book distribution. So extra energy is gone in that. But there is also, like in pranic healing, they teach this super brain yoga. If you go to South Indian temples, they have done wonderful. They have carried on the tradition very nicely. When they do this pranam like this, they sit down like this in front of the This is called super brain yoga. You can check it on YouTube also. So what it does, it transforms the energy down from up to down in a proper way. It distributes it properly.
Oh, okay.
It's a simple activity. It's a very simple activity.
Yeah, people do that. I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, in South India they do that. North we are all mixed up. Everything is mixed up. Nobody follows
In fact, I saw South Indian people when they come to ISKCON.
So if one does that, it helps.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Exercise also plus this become an exercise plus. I mean, circulating the energy.
Yeah, it just transmutes the energy down properly. And not for too long. One only has to do 7 or 8 sittings. That's all.
Okay. Okay. Mhm. Mhm. So, I mean,
These,
I've heard a couple of lecture, not from ISKCON side, but from other side, when was not very much in ISKCON. They keep on talking on this, but I was unable to still grab that kind of a art, how to do a mastery of that. Because if you are able to bring your energy at a head level, ultimately, I mean, that's where you get everything, right? That
yeah, though they are physically bringing the energy from down to up,
up,
Kundalini.
yeah.
Or what-
Okay,
we
yeah.
are getting the energy from up.
Okay,
We are getting the
okay.
mercy from up, coming down. Now, how to assimilate that energy?
Mm-hmm. It's because of
And
chanting we are getting.
oh, plenty, very huge energy, huge,
Right.
huge amount. And that is why I think Archana Mataji asked one question that why do we feel sleepy when we are chanting? All the energy is stuck up here and it becomes heavy.
Okay, okay, okay.
That's why we feel sleepy.
Right, okay.
It's simple. Those bring it down, but not bringing down to those chakras, just
Yeah,
transmute it.
correct. Good, Prabhuji. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, when I try to learn, I'm still learning the pranic healing. Those subtle things got cleared up. Yes, this is why it happened.
Right.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mata. Thank you. So you all have a
Thank you,
safe
Prabhuji.
and wonderful day, wonderful Diwali, wonderful Govardhan Puja.
Same to you,
And
Prabhuji.
Mataji, I'll see you on next Sunday.
Yes. Very excited, Prabhuji.
We'll miss
Yeah,
the
me
class
too.
here. Yeah.
Rajiv
So
Prabhu is
we'll-
going to miss it.
Rajiv Prabhu will take you on yatra through Zoom. Don't worry.
Oh, that would be wonderful, Prabhuji. That would be wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have so
I've-
many devotees. They're all IT people. So we can connect it somehow.
Yeah, very good. That would be really wonderful. I've actually given that Parshadam and donation Lakshmi to Ashok Prabhuji from my
Oh,
side.
I know he told me. He told
Right.
me. And thank you. That's wonderful.
Yeah, no, it's a regular activity. Something should go in a devotional service, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Something should go, definitely. You have built this
But
habit,
at
so let's
least
continue that.
what we found out, the prashadam, lunch prashadam is going to cost more. But don't worry, we'll take care. Don't worry. You have done your service.
Yeah, I planned for on one bus. He said for one bus we are contributing 5,000. So I said, okay, I'll
Whatever
from
you've
my
done,
side
it's
to do.
wonderful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good, Prabhuji. Good.
Okay.
We'll
Thank you,
miss-
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Prabhuji.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Jai
Hare Krishna.